Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good. So on this part of the video I will drive you through the modules that we will cover up for Sophos XG Firewall. Before we go ahead, we will see the prerequisite of this course. However, it is recommended that a student or professional should have the following knowledge and experience. So practical knowledge of networking including subnets, routing, VLANs and VPN, experience in configuring the network security devices, and the knowledge of fundamental encryption and hashing algorithms and certificate. So our agenda of this course would be covering up the 12 modules as shown here. So first would be the Sophos Firewall overview. Second would be getting started with Sophos Firewall. Third, network protection. Fourth would be site-to-site connections. Fifth would be authentication. Sixth would be the web protection. Seventh would be application control. Eight would be email protection. Nine would be remote access. 10th would be wireless protection. 11th would be logging and reporting, and 12th would be central management. Apart from this, also yes, of course, we will cover up the HA. That would be the 13th module of this course. So we will check in much more detail what would be covering up in each of these modules. The first would be getting started with Sophos Firewall. So we'll see what are the common deployment scenarios where you can deploy Sophos Firewall as a gateway. You can also configure firewall as a bridge mode, or you can configure in a mixed mode. So we'll see, we will deploy the Sophos Firewall in gateway mode. We'll also deploy it in the bridge mode and also in mixed mode, that is the combination of gateway and the bridge in our lab environment, and we'll see how it works. So we'll see all type of deployment. We also have web server protection option available on Sophos XG Firewall to protect your web server. So we'll see how we can deploy it, how we can protect our web server from various type of unknown attacks. We will see the deployment and setup, how we can deploy, what are the options available for deploying Sophos XG Firewalls. We will see the CLI, that is the console, and the web admin, the GUI of the Sophos Firewall, and we will see in much more detail. We will see from the initial setup wizard what wizard options are available that will help us to configure from the initial of the setup of the firewall. We will look into the navigation and management. We will see how navigating options available on web admin. We will see how we can manage the object by using the default or the creating our own objects and profiles, and we can implement in the firewall for the configuration purposes. We will see the interfaces, what are the interfaces available in routing, what are called zones, what are the interfaces, what type of interface we can apply the policies and routing. So we'll see the static and dynamic routing on the firewall. We will configure Sophos XG as a DNS and DHCP server. We will see how we can configure DNS, how we can configure DHCP server and DHCP relay. We will see how we can manage or administrate the device Sophos XG Firewall with help of device access and certificate. That will be covering up on the second module. The third module will cover up, that is the network protection. So network protection includes firewall rules especially. So we'll configure firewall rules here. We will configure multiple firewall rules, and we'll check and verify, troubleshoot whether the traffic is passing from the same firewall rule which we have configured for specific purpose, and so on. So we'll create and manage those firewall rules in day-to-day life and troubleshoot as per requirement. Along with firewall rules, we will look into the net rules, how we can configure the net rules to meet the requirement business needs. We will see the TLS descriptions, what are the TLS descriptions, how by creating the TLS description rules. We will also configure TLS inscription settings, and what are the description profiles, default profile and custom profile available to inspect the TLS traffic. We look into the web server protection, how we can protect our web server, what are the options available to protect our web server from outside, from any unknown attack or threat or anything. We look into the intrusion prevention, we'll look into what are the default policies available on Sophos firewalls. We will create our own IPS policies, or if we have our own custom signature, we can configure the IPS policy. We also enable the DOS protection on Sophos firewall. What are the global settings for DOS protection, and what are the spoof options, how we can protect from any type of spoofing with help of spoof protection on the Sophos firewall. We'll look into the security heartbeat. We'll enable the security heartbeat and configure security heartbeat here on the Sophos firewall rules. Security heartbeats works with the Sophos endpoints. We will see all the working in our lab to understand the requirement of the business. Also, we have advanced threat protection option available, so we will enable it and configure ATP. They will look into the ATP alerts, reports if we have any. Okay. The fourth module would be for the site-to-site connection. This is generally for your head office and multiple branch office. You can connect your head office and communicate with your branch office with help of site-to-site connections. So we have two options available on Sophos XG Firewall. We have site-to-site IPsec VPN. So we'll see what are the options available, what are the route based and all the policy based routing, what are the VPN or VPN zones. We look into the SSL VPN site-to-site configuration. We will see the overview and the configuration and how we can communicate the head office and branch office with these two parameters. We look into the IPsec VPN policy with the help of Wizard. We will configure the IPsec VPN policy and configure it and troubleshoot in case of not working. We look into the remote Ethernet device, that is the end device used to connect the small branch office. We will see what are the deployment modes available, what are the models available as per the business need to connect your branch office towards the head office. The next module would be the authentication. So we look into the authentication overview. What is the local authentication with help of captive portal. We'll integrate the radio server or AD server on the lab environment, and we'll see the authentication server and authentication service available with the AD server on Sophos XG Firewall. So we have authentication method. We look into that in much more detail with the help of synchronized user identity, captive portal and S tasks. We will also see what are the challenges or how we can fix if in case of not working. We look into the agent and Chromebook authentication if we have Chromebook environment, and we will see how we can implement authentication on the same. We look into the users, what are type of users, what are user groups, clientless users and guest users, and the options we can deploy for how we can segregate the network for the employees, the normal users and the guest users here for authentication. We'll use authentication use in the firewall rules, how we can deploy the authentication on firewall rules is of course, and the policies, how we can apply authentication on VPN or routing or user portal and admin, and how we can fix in case of not working. We also enable MFA, that is the one-time password feature available. We will see the overview of one-time password here, configuration and what are tokens. The next module would be the web protection. So we'll look into the web protection overview. What is the difference between transparent explicit proxy, what is DPI, deep packet interception, and web proxy filtering here. We'll look into the web policies, what are the default policies, how we can create and clone our own custom web filter policies to protect the network, or if any action has to be taken to allow or deny the traffic for the web. So we will see what are the web activities, how we can apply policies on user group or on the firewall rules or with the schedule policy. We will discuss in much more detail in upcoming modules. Yeah. Next would be the global settings for the web protection. We will see protection settings and advanced settings. What are the user notification, how we can get user notified that the website has been blocked. We will see the quotas and traffic shaping, the web policies and web policies and rule quotas, surfing quotas and traffic shaping. We will see how this work by creating the policies and apply it on the user firewall rules, and how we can meet the requirement in day-to-day life. Apart from exceptions, we'll see what are exceptions here, how we can override the policies, how we can bypass this policy from scanning, from any malware or any other issues where some of the protocols are not supported. We'll look and discuss in much more detail in the exception area. Next module would be the application control. We will again here, as with the web, similar to the web protection, we have application control. We will look into the overview, what are the application list available, the live connections available, and we can take action accordingly. We will again create our own filter policies, or we can clone the default policies available on Sophos XG firewall and apply on the user group or the firewall to protect the network. Next would be the synchronized app control. That is another features available on Sophos Firewall with the help of Sophos Central and Endpoint. If there are those applications which are not getting detected, which is installed on the endpoint, it will help us to synchronize and categorize those applications which are not categorized properly, and we can then take the action accordingly to allow or deny the traffic. We look into the cloud application, how we can control control center with the help of control wizard. We will classify and traffic shaping cloud. We classify those cloud application, and we can, if we want to apply it on some bandwidth policy, we can apply it on the cloud application. So we'll see with the help of the firewall rules, and we will pass the traffic. We'll verify with the help of packet capture the traffic is passing from the same firewall rule and meeting the requirement. We'll look into some other policies for traffic shaping, the global settings, and applying the settings on the users or the firewall rules. We also have another module for email protection, how we can protect your email, and we can scan for any malicious traffic. So we will look into what are the modes available on Sophos XG Firewall, mainly MTA mode and the legacy mode. We'll look and configure, and we'll see how we can scan the traffic. We will see the protection configuration and smart force. We also use the default policy for email SMTP route and scan for malware and virus scan, IMAP and POP, and legacy SMTP. We can configure our own policy as per the business requirement. We also have data control and encryption, where we, if any sensitive information is going outside the organization, we can control it with help of data control and encryption and secure PDF exchange. We will also have another option for management quarantine emails with the help of web admin, digest email, and user portal. We will also look into the DKMI verification key and signing for the email protection option available on this module. The ninth module we will cover for the remote access users, the users which are connecting from outside to the firewall to have access of the internal resources. We will connect the users with help of IPsec VPN, is of course an SSL VPN. So we look into the overview and configuration, what are the VPN client and deployment options available to connect the users from outside, what the specific resource he or she will have as per the policy. We'll also look into the clientless access portal, what are clientless access portal bookmarks, and clientless access. So clientless access, where we don't have to install any VPN client, and we can give access to some of the services which are available on the web browser. Similarly, if you want to connect the mobile phone as a remote user, we will see the overview, and we'll connect SSL VPN, and we can access internal resource through mobile phone if it is necessary or is as per the requirement. The 10th module would be wireless protection. So we will see the wireless overview, how we can configure wireless. We can use Sophos as a wireless controller here, and overview how we can configure different network, and we can push it, what are the different deployment options available, and the hotspots feature available on Sophos Firewall for one-time password for the guest users. This module is completely dedicated to Sophos AP, as Sophos Firewall will act as a wireless controller here. It is not support for third-party APs. Last we will have logging and reporting. So we'll look into the reports, what are the different type of reports we are getting, the bookmarks, the application risk meta and UTK user threat quota, what are the threat intelligent reports that we have achieved, and we can take action accordingly. Next would be the logging, that is log where in case of some configuration is not working, or we have to investigate the some traffic, or we have to fix some issue, we will use much more log viewer. With the help of log viewer, we can identify the exact issue or what action we have to take on the traffic, suspicious traffics, in much more detail during the lab session. We will see that in much more detail. We will configure syslog server, we will configure log configuration, and so on. We also have notification for email setting, SNAP configuration, and notification list here. So if anything, let's say if your firewall is down, or your ISP is down, your site is down, okay, we will get the email. With the help of email settings, we will see with the Gmail, okay, with your personal email also we can configure it, and we can get the notification here. We can configure SNMP server for monitoring purposes, and we will see what are the list available for the notification on Sophos XG firewall. We will also configure HA, which will be the for 13 module. We will see how HA works, how we can configure HA, how we can manage HA, and troubleshoot in case of any issue. So this will be the overview of this module that will be covering up in the upcoming batch. This batch would be in Hindi as well as in English. Accordingly, we will also filter the students, those who are completely new, want to learn the firewall. This will be the best start for them. If you want to learn any firewall in this world, the Sophos would be the great start here. Thank you guys for listening. See you later.